After yesterday's win, Juan Thornhill said that he saw the chatter online. He saw what people were saying about the Browns going into this matchup. So hopefully, Juan Thornhill, you come across this video and you see the dog pound showing this defense some love. Let's get 1,000 likes for the number one defense in the National Football League. Welcome on in to the 3-2 Cleveland Browns report. Matthew Peterson here, and we're going to talk about the defense because this defense is the best defense in the National Football League. I have no reservations about that. I am ready to crown them as the best defense in the NFL after we saw what Jim Schwartz's defense did to the number 2 scoring offense in the San Francisco 49ers and an MVP candidate in Brock Purdy. Wow, do they come crashing down to earth once they ran into Myles Garrett and company. Now, I do want to start off by saying I did not come into this game on Sunday thinking the Browns were going to beat the 49ers. No. In fact, I tweeted out before the game started, can someone outline a path for the Browns winning today? Best I got is a 13-10 win with a pick six and some field goals, which I was about 75% of the way there. Like, there was a lot of field goals, 4 for 5, and a Kareem Hunt touchdown run, but not a pick six. But the path was a low-scoring affair. It was muggy. It was rainy. It was poor conditions, and the 49ers came into town thinking they were big shit because they beat the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and they got punched in the mouth, and they had no response after that first drive. But because I was not in on the Browns going into this game, I did have some accountability. For not believing in the Browns this week, I am putting myself in a 30-minute online celebration timeout. So I did not enjoy the win for 30 minutes yesterday. I mean, that is accountability right there. That is hand up. I was not in on it, but now we're ready to roll, and now let's talk about this defense. Because this defense under this beautiful man right here is the best defense in the National Football League. Going into the year, of all the offseason moves the Browns made, I said the Jim Schwartz move, the Jim Schwartz hire, was the single best move that the Browns made, the best acquisition. And we were already seeing why. We're going to run through some awesome stats, so do not go anywhere because every single stat gets better and better. But this one is a good appetizer of how amazing this defense is. All right, NFL and CBS tweeted out, the Browns have given up 1,002 yards through 5 games this season. That is the fewest any NFL team has given up through 5 games in over 50 years, okay? It doesn't stop there, though. Our 49ers guy at Chat Sports, who was in shambles yesterday, by the way, Chase Sr. tweeted out, the 49ers were held to just 215 yards versus the Browns. That's the fewest total yards for San Francisco in a game under Shanahan since he became head coach in 2017. Shanahan is now 1-9 versus Jim Schwartz-led defenses. I put on the thumbnail for yesterday's recap, Super Bowl brownies. Because Super Bowls, they are very tough to come by. But when you've got an elite defense like this, all you need is a pedestrian offense. And you saw the results. They knocked off the 49ers, the best team in football. And they weren't even at near 100% on offense. This defense, with a rising offense once Deshaun Watson comes back, because we saw what this offense is capable of in the Titans game, look out. Because this NFL, they are not ready for the Cleveland Browns. The old Browns, they're gone. This is not the same old Brownies, okay? Look at the NFL defensive leaders right now. The Browns are 4th in points. They are 1st in total yards, and it's not even close, by the way. 2nd is 60 yards behind them. Passing yards, 1st. Not even close. Rushing yards, 4th, and it's like 4 teams log jammed within 10 yards of each other. Sacks, 15. 15 sacks tied for 14. That's interesting. Takeaways, just 4th. That's almost last in the NFL. So the casuals, the box score hunters out there, are going to go, Myles Garrett didn't get a sack yesterday. They only have 4 takeaways. You want to know why that is? Let me tell you why that is. Look at this right here. Look at the NFL defensive leaders when it comes to yards per play. Now, I know that sounds super nerdy and X and O's, but just stick with me for a moment, okay? The amount of yards given up on average per play against the Browns defense is 3.8, which I picked 4 other teams. It might not even be the next 4 in order, but I picked 4 other really good defenses this year, right? The Ravens, the Niners, the Chiefs, and the Bills. and you can see how the Browns stack up against them. They are number one, but they've also only been on the field 262 plays. Sure, having a week 5 bye is definitely a factor, but even if you add 70 snaps for the offense, which, by the way, would not happen. They are not on the field for 70 snaps. But still, I mean, you could add an extra 50 plays for the Browns, and they are still the number one defense when it comes to getting off the field. This defense's biggest crime is that they are so good. They force so many 3-and-outs. They are not on the field enough to force turnovers, to get sacks. They walk on the field. They go first, second, third down, and they walk right off. There's no time for them to get sacks. There's no time for them to get interceptions because they are so efficient. They walk on and they walk right off. Where's the chance for them to get any turnovers when they're only on the field 3 plays for like 10 minutes? 262 plays through 5 games so far. You want to know why there's no sacks or not enough sacks or not more turnovers? When do you want them to get them? They're on the bench the whole time because all they do is force punts. 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. In fact, I actually crunched the numbers here. I went back and looked all of last season. The Browns defense so far has forced 25 3-and-outs through 5 games. They forced a total of 41 3-and-outs in all of 2022. They are on pace for over 80 3-and-outs this season. They are going to double and then some what they did last season. So yeah, you might not see a lot of interceptions. You might not see a ton of sacks, but that's because they don't have snaps to get them, because they just keep forcing 3-and-outs, which, you know what? I'll take forcing 3-and-outs over sacks and interceptions if that means offenses come on, run the ball 2 straight times, incomplete pass on 3rd down, punt, and the offense takes over at their own 35. Sign me up. That's a defense I want to be a part of because that defense is efficient. That defense is not giving up an inch. That defense is some remember the Titans shit on steroids. That defense can win playoff games and a Super Bowl. So next up on the show, I want to talk about why this defense is clicking, right? They're number one in the NFL because all they do is walk on the field and force a stop, a 3-and-out, and walk right off. But why are they so effective? Why are they so successful? You got guys like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, but they had them last year. So what's different about this year? I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But today's show is sponsored by ZBiotics. Let's face it, after you guys hit me with all those super chats during the watch party on Sunday, I don't always bounce back well the next day. That is until I found ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pro-Alcohol Probiotic, Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So this Halloween, pair your candy and cocktails with ZBiotics to avoid a spooky next morning. Plus, you can see it's not some humongous package you got to go on the road with. No, you can easily slip it in your bag for a quick weekend getaway. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code CHATSPORTS at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring today's video. I want to answer the question that I asked before we went to that read, and that was, what's different about this defense this year? It's guys like Martin Emerson, right? It's other role players, if you will, stepping into Pro Bowl spots. Because last year, Myles Garrett had 16 sacks. And we saw that Myles Garrett simply can't do it all by himself. Denzel Ward has never had a season with fewer than 2 interceptions. We have seen that that's not enough always. But when you got guys like Martin Emerson, who have only allowed 6 receptions for 138 yards, 1 interception last night or yesterday, and 3 pass breakups. Well, all of a sudden, you've got 2 islands on the field, Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson. A quarterback can't go left, he can't go right. So he wants to go up to the middle of the field. Uh-oh. Look who's in the middle of the field right now. It's Grant Delpit, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah saying, peekaboo, I see you. Delpit so far this year, 27 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 12 stops, right? That's when you're at the line of scrimmage and you force a stop and it's a negative play or it's a no-gainer for the other team. 1 interception and 2 pass breakups. And JOK is having a Pro Bowl year. Your NFL casual might not know who he is, but everyone in Northeast Ohio does. 8 tackles for loss. The guy only had 11 tackles for loss combined the first 2 seasons of his NFL career. He's at 8, and we're not even close to the halfway mark of the season. 1 sack, 15 stops, 1 pass breakup so far for JOK. But now I want to look at what the Browns have done schedule-wise and who they've got coming up here. Because when you look at the first few games, they played Joe Burrow and the Bengals, held them to 3 points. They played Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, 13 points. They played Derrick Henry, probably one of the biggest tests of whether or not this run defense improved compared to last season. Derrick Henry rushed for 20 yards. Then Lamar Jackson went to the Ravens. They scored 28 points. Not going to, try and spin zone my way out of that one. But Brock Purdy comes in. Brock Purdy is not in the NFL because of his cannon of an arm. It's his decision-making and it's his ability to make quick decisions and get the ball out to the right place. He completed 44% of his passes. Next up, Gardner Minshew. Then Geno Smith. Then Josh Dobbs. Like, the Browns defense is going to have some good quarterbacks at the end of the season. They'll have Trevor Lawrence. They'll have Lamar again. They'll have Joe Burrow, who will be healthy by then. But man, oh man. I mean, they played through some tough quarterbacks already. And now they come out 3-2 with Minshew, Geno, and Dobbs next up. I mean, that's the Grim Reaper meme right there of, if you guys thought it was pretty what we did to Brock Purdy, imagine what's going to happen to Gardner Minshew, who did not play well at all against the Jags yesterday for the Colts. Now, we have a lot of football left. So if you are hopping on the Browns bandwagon, if you are enjoying Victory Monday right now, subscribe to the channel because we're going to keep you guys in the loop all season long. So hop aboard one of the fastest growing Browns YouTube communities out there. And thank you to all of our newer subscribers that joined the channel over the last month or so. I want to switch gears and talk about Jed Wills for a moment here because the defense gets plenty of roses and plenty of attention, but Jed Wills should as well because the guy was facing a lot of adversity. We were all calling for his job. We wanted him cut. We wanted him benched. We wanted him traded. And how does he respond? He comes out of the bye, and he puts up the best start of the season, PFF grade of 69.0. Very nice. Wouldn't want it 1 decimal higher or lower. Pass blocking grade, 58.3. But the run blocking grade is what I'm most proud of because run blocking a lot of time is a bit of an effort thing, right? Do you want to run down the field with your running back, right? Do you want to get to the second level and then drive that guy 20 yards off the line of scrimmage? Jed Wills was running step for step, or as well as he could at least, with Jerome Ford down the field on that big 22-yard scamper to set up a key field goal in the fourth quarter. A big attitude and effort adjustment was seen out of Jed Wills this past Sunday. So let's give Jed Wills a round of applause because he deserves it. If we can get more of this offensive line is going to start going right in the right direction once they get Joel Petonio back, by the way. So the heart and soul of your offensive line wasn't even out there on Sunday against Bosa and the Niners, and they still played as a unit their best game together, I would say. Let's talk about some other key players from yesterday. Kareem Hunt, in his 3rd game as a Cleveland Brown this season, 12 carries for 47 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 24 yards. We're starting to get Kareem Hunt going a little bit. No doubt that it was going to take him a little bit of time to warm up, if you will, right? I was not expecting big things out of him in his first game of the season. It's not the same going from practicing in your own backyard to running through an NFL defense. But Kareem Hunt had a good showing. Jerome Ford, 17 carries, 84 yards, had that huge run in the fourth quarter. If Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt can continue to play this way, all those RB trade rumors, they're going to go down the drain. Because why trade for a running back when these two guys might not be Nick Chubb, might not be 90% of Nick Chubb, but if they can get the job done and they can combine for 130 rushing yards and a touchdown, which they did on Sunday, we can make do with that. That is a ground game we can work with moving forward. All right, let me know, though, what was your favorite part about the Browns win? Like, one favorite part about it, whether it was someone's play or whether it was a highlight like the Amari Cooper catch or Martin Emerson's interception. For me, I'm not shitting you. I sit at my desk, and all I do is just keep rewatching the camera on Amari Cooper and the rest of the bench when the kick was wide right, and he just gets up and he just screams, "He missed it! He missed it!" He starts hugging David Bell. Like, that is hands down my favorite part of the win yesterday. Another thing that I loved about yesterday was, wow, Andrew Berry, the guy knew he had a problem at kicker after 4 preseason games and didn't roll the dice going into the regular season. Made a move for Dustin Hopkins, and I'll honestly ask this question. Would you rather have this D-Hop or the D-Hop in Tennessee right now? I'll take this D-Hop. He's 12 for 14, and he is perfect beyond 50 yards on field goals. He went 4 for 5 yesterday in rough, poor, rainy conditions, and if Cade York is this team's kicker, they lose that game yesterday, 17-16. I mean, Cade York does not go 4 for 5. I don't know where you want to move the misses around, but he goes 3 for 5 at best. Or they might not even kick some of those field goals because of a lack of trust in Cade York. So, Dustin Hopkins, shout out to you, man. I mean, honestly, great start to the season. A huge sigh of relief for a position that had everyone chewing off all their fingernails going into the year. Before we get on out of here, I do want to give you guys an injury update on Deshaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski said that Watson remains day-to-day, but there is an overall belief and a sign of encouragement coming from Berea that Watson will be ready to roll Week 7 against the Indianapolis Colts. He is trending in the right direction. Stefanski is talking about how he is working his tail off, doing everything possible to be ready for Week 7 against the Colts, and that he's doing everything under his power to work with the trainers and, put himself in a position to be able to play. So it looks like Watson's going to be able to come back. And listen, PJ Walker, thank you for the win. You made a lot of good plays. You made some really bad plays, but ultimately you were one of 3 other backup quarterbacks who won on Sunday. So you're always going to have a little special place in my heart, but we're ready to see Deshaun Watson come back on. No doubt about that. Now, before we get on out of here, I do want to show some love as we have it's been a love fest on today's Cleveland Browns report of Week 6 Watch Party MVPs. Mike Dibble was the MVP from our watch party yesterday. Mike came in and he was dropping stacks. He was awesome. He was getting the chat moving. He was getting the party started. Mike, shout out to you, man. John Porter, I'm going to put down as an all-pro. I mean, this is teach tape, right? This is what they show the rookies when they come into the NFL. They show them what John Porter did in that Week 6 watch party, and everyone better start taking notes because John put up a performance of a lifetime. Tim Green, Pro Bowler. Every roster would love to have a Tim Green on it. I want more Tim Greens. If we had 11 Tim Greens, this team would go undefeated. I love me some Tim Green. And then I want to give the game ball to Ty Man the Buckeye. Ty Man the Buckeye is the heart and soul of the chat in the watch parties and during our live shows. Ty Man, thank you so much for always being there and supporting the show. Game ball to you. And I want to get everyone's eyes on Cool Guy Called Zone. He's a sleeper. Just keep your eyes on him. He might not make a lot of big splashy plays. He might not haul in receptions like Amari Cooper did. But you know what he can do? He can move the chains on 4th and 4 like David Bell did. Cool Guy, I'm watching you, dude. And I'm loving what I'm seeing. All right. With all that being said, this was an awesome show. I had a lot of fun talking about this team. I had a lot of fun preparing the show. But they go to Indianapolis this upcoming Sunday. And I don't want them going to Indianapolis just like how the 49ers came to Cleveland. Bellies full, thinking they're on top of the world. We just beat the number 1 team in the NFL. We can beat everyone. We can sleepwalk this game. No. Do not underestimate the Indianapolis Colts. Gardner Minshew is always good for a couple of really good starts. This Colts defense plays hard and they play physical. Browns, after the game, Kevin Stefanski said, get a lift in on Monday or Tuesday. We'll see you Wednesday. Don't think that you can just sleepwalk your way through this week knowing, hey, we get Watson back. Our defense is impenetrable. We're going to be just fine against the Indianapolis Colts. No. Don't make the same mistake the 49ers just did. Keep that hunger, boys.